So good morning to everyone. So in previous class we were discussing about the concept of Hayes bridge. Okay. So what is the main object of Hayes bridge? The main object of Hayes bridge is to find out or to measure inductance. Okay. So we are in the concept of AC bridges. Okay. That too in the measurement of inductance. So measurement of inductance can be done with various types of bridges. Like we discussed a Maxwell's bridge, and as previous class we discussed Hayes bridge. We can also measure inductance with the help of Anderson's bridge, okay, with the help of Owen's bridge. So there are various methods. So but what is the exact thing with Hayes bridge? Why we have chosen the Hayes bridge means, so there is a quite disadvantage with Maxwell's bridge. The main disadvantage with Maxwell's bridge is only used to measure the inductance at low quality factors. Okay, in order to improve that, so we have proposed the concept of Hayes bridge is used to measure the inductance at a higher quality factor other than Maxwell's bridge. Okay, so we have seen the discussion of numerical analysis and construction and its objectives in previous class. In today's class we will solve some problems. Before solving some problems, so we will discuss about phasor diagram of Hayes bridge. Okay, so after completing this phasor diagram approach, we will solve some problems, 2 to 3 problems. So make yourself comfortable with your scientific calculator. Okay, thank you. So while going into the phasor analysis, so most of you are very familiar with the concept of Hayes bridge. So we're coming into the construction. The first arm is having a resistance with respect to an inductance. So this is nothing but an unknown arm, and the second arm is having a resistance, and third arm is also having a resistance path, and fourth arm is having a resistance connected with an series capacitor. Okay, so this is the concept of Hayes bridge. That means here, at what particular instant we can say the bridge is in balanced condition means the bridge is in balanced condition. Okay, if the potential drop E1 is equal to E3 and potential drop E2 is equal to E4, that is one condition. At that condition, the detector will show null deflection. And another instant is if the current I1 is equal to I2 and I2 is equal to I4. At that instant also, the deflector will show a null deflection and the bridge is in a balanced condition. And we have solved the bridge balance expression, and we have calculated the unknown inductance and resistance. So while if we going to the extent of phasor diagram analysis, in the concept of this phasor diagram analysis, one second. So in this concept of this phasor diagram analysis, so if we see in this phasor diagram analysis, how you can analyze the phasor diagram means, first we will go through the potential drop, or voltage drop. Okay, so at what particular instant the bridge is balanced? The bridge is balanced when the EMF drop across E1 is equal to E3 and E2 is equal to E4. At that instant, the bridge is in a balanced condition. And second most thing, how can we say the bridge is in balanced condition means if the currents I1 is equal to I2 and I2 is equal to I4, the bridge is in a balanced condition. Okay, so here uh, path B to C and path A to D, these two paths are nothing but resistance paths. Okay, these two paths are nothing but resistance path, but path A to B and path B to C is nothing but inductance paths. Okay, so if we see the current flowing from the first path, that is current flowing through the first path, that is current flowing through the first path is I1 from A to B. Current flowing through the first path is I1 from A to B. Okay, so what will be the voltage drop? Voltage drop will be I1 into R1. Okay, so the total voltage drop here, what will be the total voltage drop at this particular path? The total voltage drop is I1 into R1. Okay, and I1 into R1 is the first voltage drop. So first thing, sorry, I1 into R1 is nothing but the first voltage drop. I1 into R1 is the first voltage drop flowing with respect to the path A to B. Okay, that is I1 into R1. So with respect to I1 into R1, there is certain amount of inductance, in the line. So that inductance in the line is represented with respect to I1 into j omega 1. I1 into j omega 1 is represented here. Okay, so we have drawn the voltage drop across path A to B with respect to resistance and with respect to the inductance. Okay, with respect to the inductance. So there is a second voltage drop. Second voltage drop. That means voltage drop across A to B is equal to the voltage drop across A to B is equal to the voltage drop across A to D. Okay, voltage drop across A to B is equal to voltage drop across A to D, and E1 is the voltage drop here. E1 is the voltage drop from A to B, and E2 is the voltage drop from A to D. That means both voltage drops are equal. Both voltage drops are equal, and both are in phase. Both are in phase. Okay, both are in phase. That means both are in phase condition. Both are in phase condition. So if I2 is the current flowing from C to D, I2 is nothing but a current flowing from C to D at this particular path. If I2 is the current flowing from C to D, okay, so what will be the voltage drop across at this condition? The voltage drop will be I2 into R4. The voltage drop will be I2 into R4. I2 is the current flowing and voltage drop is I2 into R4. I2 into R4. I2 into R4, that is the voltage drop. So with respect to the resistance, there is certain amount of capacitance that is represented with respect to I2 into omega C4. Capacitance voltage drop is represented with respect to I2 into omega C4, and the capacitance lags with respect to the current at a particular 90 degrees. At a particular 90 degrees, that is I2 into omega C4. I2 into omega C4 lags with respect to the current I2. Lags with respect to the current I2. Okay, so in the next step, what is the next step we can see is the potential drop. The potential drop across C4 and R4 gives the total voltage drop from C to D. So that's what we calculated. If we see the voltage drop across, if we see the behavior of voltages, that means that if we see the total EMF provided with respect to an AC source, total EMF is provided with respect to an AC source. Okay, and there are additional amount of EMF. There used to be an voltage drop across first path, voltage drop across third path, and voltage drop across second path, and voltage drop across fourth path. Okay, so we already discussed that the voltage drop across E1 and E2 are equal. Okay, E1 and E2 are equal. That's why the both are represented on the same path. That's why E1 and E2 is represented on same path, and voltage drop across E3 and E4 are equal. This voltage drop E3 equal to this voltage drop E4. Okay, so that's why these two are represented in this particular path. This particular path E3 is equal to E4 is represented in this part, and the total EMF is experienced here. The total EMF is drawn in this manner. Total EMF is drawn in this manner. An EMF is in phase with total EMF is nothing but supply EMF, which is in phase with respect to I1 and I2, which is in between I1 and I2 is represented here. Okay, so this is about the phasor diagram of Hayes bridge. If anybody is having any queries, just let me know in the chat box. Okay, going to the next slide. Make yourself available with a scientific calculator. So this is our first problem related to Maxwell's bridge. What is the first problem related to Maxwell's bridge? So in the first problem of Maxwell's bridge, the main object, what is the main object of Maxwell's bridge? Maxwell's bridge main objective is to measure self-inductance, or inductive impedance. Okay, so bridge is in balanced condition. So this is the Maxwell's inductance bridge. The bridge is in a balanced condition. So we're having the first part, that is resistance R1, that is 235 kilo ohm, C1, that is 0.012 microfarad, and R2, that is 2.5 kilo ohm. Okay, and R3, that is equal to 50 kilo ohm. So we have the data related to three particular branches. We have the data related to first branch. We have the data related to the first branch. We have the data related to the second branch, and we have the data related to third branch. Okay. So first, what we have to find out means we need to find out the unknown impedance, unknown inductive impedance, which is related to the fourth branch, Rx and Lx. Okay. So we need to solve this. We need to solve this thing. So how can we solve this inductive impedance? So first we have to study the given data. Inductive impedance, first we have to know the calculate the inductive impedance. So what is the formula for inductive impedance? Before calculating the inductive impedance, first we have to calculate the two elements. You have to calculate one is inductive impedance and also resistance. Okay, one is R suffix x and another one is L suffix x. Okay, so how R suffix x is calculated? R suffix x is equal to R2 R3 divided by R1. R2 R3 divided by R1. What is the value of R2? 2.5 kilo ohm. What is the value of R3? 50 kilo ohm. What is the value of R1? 235 kilo ohm. If we substitute the parameters, okay, 2.5 kilo ohm into 50 kilo ohm divided by 235 kilo ohm. What is the answer? Just solve it and answer to me. Post your answer in the chat box. Solve along with me. 2.5 into 50 divided by 235. What is the answer? Just anybody respond in the chat box with respect to the answer. Take your running roads and solve along with me. Students, it will be simple. Otherwise, the things will be complex. What is the value of unknown resistance? Right. 259 got 0.53 kilo ohm. 261 got 0.531 kilo ohm. Just I myself got 0.53 kilo ohm. Anybody with the same answer? Units is kilo ohm. Unit has to, we have to keep the units very carefully. If I misplace the units, the entire problem will be misplaced. Okay. So let me check the answer. That is 0.53 kilo ohm. It's correct. So we calculated the unknown resistance. So next we have to calculate the unknown impedance. Unknown impedance. Lx is equal to C1 into R2 R3. Okay. So what is the value of C1? Lx is nothing but unknown inductive impedance. Unknown inductive impedance. Unknown inductive impedance. So C1 is nothing but the capacitance already known. That is 0.012 microfarad, and R2 is nothing but 2.5 kilo ohm, and R3 is nothing but 50 kilo ohm. If we substitute the values, that is 0.012 into 10 to the power of minus 6 microfarad is converted into farads. Okay, and kilo ohms are converted into ohms. That is 2.5 into 10 to the power of 3 into 15 into 10 to the power of minus 10 to the power of 3. Anybody with answer? Solve along with me. 0.012 into 10 to the power of minus 6 into 2.5 into 10 to the power of 3 into 15 to 10 to the power of 3. What is the answer? The 261 got 1.5 Henry and 259 got 1.5 Henry. Only 2 to 3 people are responding. Remaining people, you have to solve this. Okay. I will forward this presentation to your WhatsApp group after the end of the session. Okay. 265, 1.5 Henry. It's correct. Okay. 1.5 Henry. So if we substitute these values, if we substitute these values in an we substitute these values in an equivalent circuit, of this particular known branch, fourth path, we calculated the ratings of the fourth path. So if we substitute the values in the fourth path, so that will be in the series, this is the series resistance we calculated 0.5 kilo ohm, and unknown inductance, that is 1.5 Henry. So that is about this problem. So if we go to the next problem, go to the next. So this is also a Maxwell's bridge problem. Actually, the given data is quite complex. That's why I have eliminated that complex data and I segregated this in this format. Okay, so we know the second branch resistance. Second branch is nothing. So this is our Maxwell's bridge. Most of you are very familiar with the Maxwell's bridge. So Maxwell's bridge will have 4 arms. Okay, so you can clearly understand the Maxwell's bridge. Why means, what is the difference between Maxwell's bridge and Hayes bridge means, in Maxwell's bridge, this resistance and capacitance arm. So resistance is in parallel with respect to the capacitor in Maxwell's bridge. But here in Hayes bridge, resistance is in parallel with respect to Hayes bridge. Okay. So some people posted a query in the chat box. We, in a numerical analysis, okay, we calculated the unknown resistance with respect to the fourth path. But in some of the problems, the unknown path is represented with respect to the first branch. అదేనండి, మనం న్యూమరికల్ అనాలిసిస్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఏం చేసామంటే, ఈ ఫోర్త్ బ్రాంచ్ ఉంది కదండి D2C, ఈ D2C దగ్గర మనం అన్నోన్ రెసిస్టెన్స్, అన్నోన్ ఇండక్టెన్స్ ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేసామండి. కానీ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ దగ్గరికి వచ్చేటప్పటికి ఏమైందండి, కొన్ని ప్రాబ్లమ్స్లో ఫస్ట్ పాత్ దగ్గర చూపిస్తున్నాడండి. సో అదేంటంటే ట్విస్ట్ చేశాడండి. అంటే అన్నోన్ రెసిస్టెన్స్, అన్నోన్ ఇండక్టెన్స్కి ఫస్ట్ పాత్కి షిఫ్ట్ చేసి నోన్ ఎలిమెంట్స్ని ఫోర్త్ పాత్కి షిఫ్ట్ చేశాడు. సో మీకు ఒక డౌట్ రావచ్చు, అలా షిఫ్ట్ చేయొచ్చండి. మనం ఆల్రెడీ మ్యాక్స్వెల్స్ బ్రిడ్జ్ అప్పుడు డిస్కస్ చేసాం. ఏం చెప్పామండి, ఫస్ట్ పాత్ అండ్ ఫోర్త్ పాత్ ఆర్ ఇండక్టెన్స్ పాత్స్. ఓకే, ఇండక్టెన్స్ పాత్స్ అని చెప్పి, సెకండ్ పాత్ అండ్ థర్డ్ పాత్ ఆర్ నాన్ ఇండక్టెన్స్ పాత్, దీస్ ఆర్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ పాత్స్ అని చెప్పాం కదండి. అంటే ఏంటండి, ఇప్పుడు చూడండి ఇక్కడ సెకండ్ పాత్ ఉంది కదండి, 1 సెకండ్ అండి. అంటే ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడ సెకండ్ పాత్ ఉంది కదండి, సెకండ్ పాత్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్. సెకండ్ పాత్లో రెసిస్టెన్స్ ఎంత ఉంది, 1000 ohms ఉందండి. థర్డ్ పాత్లో రెసిస్టెన్స్ ఎంత ఉందండి, 1000 ohms ఉందండి. అంటే సెకండ్ పాత్, థర్డ్ పాత్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ ఆర్మ్స్ అండి, ప్యూర్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ ఆర్మ్స్. అక్కడికి తీసుకెళ్ళి మనం ఇండక్టెన్స్ ఆర్మ్ని రీప్లేస్ చేయలేమండి. ఇండక్టివ్ ఆర్మ్ని నాన్ ఇండక్టివ్ ఆర్మ్ కానీ, నోన్ ఇండక్టివ్ ఆర్మ్ కానీ, అన్నోన్ ఇండక్టివ్ ఆర్మ్స్ కానీ మనం షిఫ్ట్ చేసుకుంటే ఫస్ట్ పాత్ ఫోర్త్ పాత్లోని ట్విస్ట్ చేసుకుని షిఫ్ట్ చేయాలి. అంతేగాని సెకండ్ పాత్ థర్డ్ పాత్ చూసినప్పటికి మీరు మ్యాక్స్వెల్స్ బ్రిడ్జ్ చూడండి, హేస్ బ్రిడ్జ్ చూడండి, ఈ రెండు బ్రిడ్జెస్లో సెకండ్ పాత్ అండ్ థర్డ్ పాత్ బోత్ ఆర్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ ఆర్మ్స్ అండి. అక్కడ ఓన్లీ ప్యూర్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ ఎలిమెంట్స్ ఉంటాయి. అండ్ ఫస్ట్ పాత్ అండ్ ఫోర్త్ పాత్ ఓన్లీ ఇండక్టివ్ ఆర్మ్స్, అక్కడే అన్నోన్ ఇండక్టెన్స్ అనేది ఉండొచ్చు. కాబట్టి అన్నోన్ ఇండక్టెన్స్ వాల్యూని ఫస్ట్ పాత్లో రిప్రజెంట్ చేయొచ్చండి, ఫోర్త్ పాత్లో రిప్రజెంట్ చేయొచ్చండి. ఈ డౌట్ కొంతమంది నన్ను అడిగారు. ఇఫ్ ఇట్స్ క్లియర్, జస్ట్ రెస్పాండ్ ఇన్ ద చాట్. ఓకే, దట్ దిస్ ఈజ్ అవర్ సెకండ్ ప్రాబ్లం. సో సెకండ్ ప్రాబ్లం కన్సిస్టింగ్ ఆఫ్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ R2 1000 ohms అండి, R3 1000 ohms, and R4 is nothing but 1000 ohms, and the capacitance is 0.5 Henry. Okay, so Maxwell's bridge ki Hayes bridge ki difference ఏంటంటే, if you observe the circuit here, the resistance capacitance on Maxwell's bridge లో ఎలా ఉంటుందండి, resistance is in parallel with respect to the capacitance. Maxwell's bridge లో, Hayes bridge లో ఎలా ఉంటుందండి, in Hayes bridge the resistance is in series with respect to the capacitance. So in Hayes bridge resistance is in series with capacitor, in Maxwell's bridge resistance is in parallel with capacitor. Okay, so if we go to the problem, what we need to calculate, the here the inductance impedance calculate చేయాలండి, unknown inductance ని మనం calculate చేయాలి. If we see that, okay, so this is a modified Maxwell's bridge, most of you are familiar Maxwell's bridge, and which is having a standard capacitor. So if you go to the bridge balance expression, so these are the formulas most of you are very familiar. That is unknown inductance, that is L suffix x, that is equal to C into R3 R2, and R1 is nothing but R2 R3 divided by R4. Okay, so first solve the first thing. Substituting the values we get. So what is the value of inductance, unknown inductance L1, that is equal to 0.5 into 10 to the power of minus 6, that is the value of capacitance. Okay, 0.5 microfarad. Microfarad is converted into farads, that is 0.5 into 10 to the power of minus 6 into R3. What is the value of R3? 1000 ohms. 1000 into R2, that is 1000 ohms. Okay, so if we substitute these values in this expression, okay, and what answer to me the, sorry, post your answer in the chat box. 0.5. Okay, 258 got 0.5 and 259 got 0.5. Anyone? Anyone verify the answer? Let me check. Right. 0.5 Henry. So what will be, that is about unknown inductance. So what will be the unknown, what will be the unknown resistance? R1 is equal to R2 R3 divided by R4. Unknown resistance, that is R2. What is the value of R2? 1000. What is the value of R3? 1000. R1 is 1000. What will be the unknown resistance? Right, 261 got 1000 ohms, right? And 258 got 1000 ohms. Simple, it's a simple thing. So R1 is equal to 1000 into 1000 divided by 1000, that is 1000 ohms. Okay, so that is about this problem. So if you have any queries, doubts with respect to this problem, let me know in the chat box. So this is our third problem. So equivalent resistance. So this is a Hayes bridge. Okay, Hayes bridge. The equivalent resistance and inductance of a network with respect to Hayes bridge is shown in the following bridge arms. Okay, and omega, he has given omega value also. Omega is nothing but 3000 radians per second, and resistance of second path, this resistance of second path is 9 kilo ohm. Okay, resistance of first path R1 is equal to 1.8 kilo ohm. Okay, resistance C1, sorry, capacitance C1 is equal to 0.9 microfarad, and resistance R3 is equal to 0.9 kilofarad. Okay, if we substitute this, if we solve this problem, so what is the expression of resistance R suffix x is equal to, R suffix x is equal to omega square C1 square R1 R2 R3 divided by 1 plus omega square R1 square into C1 square. Substitute the value. Omega is substituted with respect to 3000 square into 0.9 into 10 to the power of minus 6. Kilo ohms are converted into ohms into 1. 1.8 kilo ohms, 1.8 into 1.8 into 1000. Okay, next 9 into 1000, 0.9 into 1000, that means r here microfarads is converted into farads, and here kilo ohms is converted into ohms. The numerator divided by 1 plus omega square. What is the value of omega? Omega is 3000. Okay, and what is the value of R1? R1 is nothing but 1.8. 1.8 into 1000 whole square into C1. What is the value of C1? 0.9 microfarad whole square. And substitute the parameters. Solve numerator with respect to denominator. Numerator separate గా solve చేయండి, denominator separate గా solve చేసి divide చేయండి. So it will be simple, otherwise the things will be complex. Okay, solve along with me, students. So what will be the answer? Let me check. Okay, solve along with me. What is the answer? Just post your answer in the chat box. Solve numerator separately and denominator separately and divide both of them. Right, verify the answer. Right, someone posted the answer, that is 6822 ohms. 6822 ohms. Anybody got the same answer? Right, 6.83 kilo ohm. Some people got 6.83 kilo ohm. I myself got 6.8 kilo ohm. Anyone got the similar answers? Cross verify this thing. 6800 ohms or 6000 or 6.8 kilo ohm or 6.83 kilo ohm. These are the answers which are posted in the chat box, and I myself got 6.8 kilo ohm. Okay, let me verify. Right. The answer is 6822 ohms or 6.822 kilo ohm. Okay, this is a lengthy calculation. You have to be fast with your calculation part. Otherwise, the time will be scrambled. So if we go, this is about the unknown resistance which we calculated. If we calculate the unknown inductance value L suffix x. What is the formula of inductance value? L suffix x is equal to R2 R3 into C1 divided by 1 plus omega square R1 square into C1 square. Okay. So what is the value of R2? R2 is nothing but 9 kilo ohm. What is the value of R3? R3 is nothing but 0.9 kilo ohm. What is the value of C1? C1 is nothing but 0.9 microfarad divided by 1 plus omega. What is the value of omega? 3000 square into R1. What is the value of R1? 1.8 kilo ohm whole square into C1. What is the value of C1? C1 is nothing but 0.9 microfarad. So if we substitute the values one by one in this parameter, in this expression, that is 9 into 1000. Okay, kilo ohms is converted into ohms into, that is R2 value. R2 is 9 kilo ohms, right? 9 into 1000 into 0.9 into 1000. 0.9 is nothing but R3. And C1, what is the value of C1 capacitor? That is 0.9 microfarad. 0.9 into 10 to the power of minus 6 divided by 1 plus omega square. 1 plus omega square. What is the value of omega square? Omega is 3000. 3000 square into 1.8 into 1000 whole square into 0.9 into 10 to the power minus 6 whole square. If we solve this thing, okay, solve numerator apart and solve denominator apart and divide both of them, we will get an answer. Post your answer in the chat box. Verify the answer. Solve along with me. Take a running notes and solve along with me with your scientific calculator. Post your answer in the chat box of unknown inductive impedance L suffix x. Let me check in the chat. Did someone posted the answer? That is 0.46 Henry. 0.46 Henry. Anybody got the same answer? Only 2 to 3 people responded in the chat. 0.468 Henry. Okay, right. Let me check. So I myself got 0.4 Henry. Let me verify. The answer is 0.468 Henry. So both inductive impedance and inductive resistance, that is resistance R suffix x, that is 6.822 kilo ohms, and L suffix x inductive impedance, that is 0.468 Henry. Okay, so these are about the problems which we solved. Next we will discuss about the concept of Anderson bridge. Is it clear, or anybody is having any doubt with respect to the problems అర్థమయ్యండి. ఈ 3 ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ సాల్వ్ చేసామండి. I will sort out as many textbooks as I can, So now onwards in everyday class we will solve some problems and we will say new concept. So it will be simple. Okay, problems and concept and concept related to that problem. Okay, so next bridge with respect to the classification, that is 1 second. Well, discussion of this bridges. So okay, I myself make it clear. So take one running notes, okay, and solve the derivation along with me so that it will be simple. Otherwise, the things will be so much complex and you don't understand the things. Even though you collect the material, even though you have my PPT or whatever it may be the textbook you are following, okay, I myself was having a running notes before explaining to you, and I myself solved the same derivation, and I'm explaining to you. So I please asking you to solve the derivation along with me with the discussion so that the things will be clear. Okay, so Anderson's bridge. So what is the concept of Anderson's bridge we are holding here? Okay, what is the object of Anderson's bridge? The main object of Anderson's bridge is to measure inductance. Okay, inductance. So there are various methods. So we discussed about. So there are various methods like Maxwell's inductance, Maxwell's bridge, okay, Hayes bridge, and we are discussing about Anderson's bridge. There is Owen's bridge. There are various types of bridges. So what is the main objective of Anderson's bridge means? The main objective of Anderson's bridge, it is one of the commonest bridge and best bridge. How we can say the best bridge means here there is an drawback with respect to Maxwell's bridge. What is the drawback with respect to Maxwell's bridge? Maxwell's bridge will measure the inductance only up to low quality factors. Okay, so and Hayes bridge also can also measure the inductance at a high quality factors, but here the measurement of inductance can be done at a wide range, very wide range in application. So how can we achieve a wide range of inductance measurement with the help of Anderson's bridge means with the help of employing a standard capacitor. Okay, that means here we have to note a point. Anderson's bridge, okay, main purpose or main objective is to measure self inductance. Okay, so how can it will measure the self inductance means with the help of a standard capacitor. Okay, with the help of a standard capacitor we can measure the self inductance, can measure the self inductance, can measure the self inductance. That means here each bridge will is having a own objective. Okay, Maxwell's bridge will measure the inductance with the help of generalizer bridge comparison. Hayes bridge you will measure the inductance. Okay, so here the Anderson's bridge will measure the inductance with the help of an standard capacitor. So this is the Anderson's bridge which we propose, which we are going to explain. We are going to explain. So if we see the first path, resistance of first path. 1 second. So the resistance of first path. 1 second. Right. So the resistance of first path is represented here. First path is nothing but A to B. A to B is nothing but a first path. Okay. So you see, this is where the self inductance which we need to measure. This is the unknown impedance path. Unknown impedance path. Okay. So here the resistance is R suffix X and inductance is L suffix X. L suffix X. And the voltage current flowing through the first path is represented as I1. A to B. First path is A to B, and current flowing through the first path is A to I1. Okay, and EMF across the first path or voltage drop across the first path is represented with respect to E suffix 1. Okay, and second path, if we see the second path is from B to C. Current flowing through the first path is I2. Okay, so even though the current flowing through this entire segment from A to B to B to C is same, okay, current flowing from A to B and B to C is same amount of current will flow. That's why represented I2 is I1 is equal to I2 or I2 is equal to I1. Okay, and the second path from B to C, this is nothing but a resistance path, pure resistance path. That's why we have a resistance element here, and the voltage drop is E2. Voltage drop is E2. Okay, and the third path is from A to D. Third path from A is from A to D, and current flowing is I suffix, sorry, current flowing is I3, and the current flowing is I3. Okay, and here the third path from A to D is also known as standard resistance path or pure resistance path. That's why we have only a resistance element. Okay, so before going to the fourth path, here we have an additional resistance in the detector arm. In the detector arm, you are having an additional resistance that is represented with respect to small r. Okay, and here we have a standard capacitor which is connected from C, in between C and F. Okay, a standard a known resistance small r is connected in between F to D, and current flowing is I suffix C. Okay, so the current flowing in the capacitor is flowing in this particular line from F to D. Okay, and a standard capacitor is connected from F to C, and current flowing there is I suffix C. Okay, and second thing is the resistance arm from D to C. The resistance arm is connected from D to C. Okay, the current flowing is I4, and the voltage drop across this particular fourth arm from D to C is E4. Okay, so the resistance across first path, sorry, the voltage drop across first path is represented with E1, and current flowing is I1. The voltage drop across second path is E2. Okay, and the voltage and the current flowing is I2, and voltage drop across third path is I3, and sorry, voltage drop across third path is cap E3, and current flowing is I3, and voltage drop across fourth path is E4, and current flowing is I4. So that is what we represented here. That is, L1 is nothing but self inductance to be measured, and R1 is nothing but resistance of the coil under test circuit, and R2, R3, R4. See here, R2 is nothing but known resistance and non-inductive resistance. R3 is nothing but known resistance. R4 is the known resistance, and small r is also known resistance. So these are capital R2, capital R3, capital R4, and small r. These are all known as non-inductive resistances. Okay, and C value is nothing but standard resistance path. So if we go through the numerical analysis, so this is about a construction. The main objective of Anderson's bridge is to measure inductance with the help of an standard capacitor. So if we go to the bridge balance expression, so at a balanced condition, so what we are going to say, at a balanced condition, I1 is the current flowing here first path. I1 is the current flowing here first path. So that is, I1 amount of current is flowing from A to B and B to C. That is, I1 is equal to I2. Both are same. So if we say the I3, if we go to the third path, okay, I3 is the current flowing with respect to A to D and D to C. Okay, I3 is the current flowing from A to D and D to C. Okay, and the same amount of current flow is flowing here in the capacitance arms also. That's why I3 is equal to IC plus I4. Okay, if we see the voltage drops, here, so what is the voltage drop? A voltage drop with respect to this here, if we can't find out the voltage drop here in the first term. Why we can't find out the voltage drop means, so this is the unknown path. This is unknown. This is what we need to calculate. What is this is unknown. The resistance value is unknown and the inductance value is unknown. So we can't measure voltage drop here. So if we observe the voltage drop at this part, E2, that is, E2 is having the current I1. I1 is equal to I2. That's why represented with I1. I1 into R2 is nothing but voltage drop across the second arm. Okay, and capacitor voltage drop across the capacitor, that is I into C, that is IC into 1 by j omega C. Current flown is I suffix C, and with respect to the capacitance, that is j omega C, 1 by j omega C. So if we rewrite this expression, if we resolve this expression, this particular expression we resolve in the terms of IC, I suffix C is equal to I1 into j omega C into R2. This is the value of capacitor current. So this is one of the crucial point. Students, please solve along with me. I suffix C is equal to I1 into j omega C into R2. So how we calculated this expression? This expression is calculated with the help of voltage drop across B to C and voltage drop across this particular standard capacitor. So if we go further, with respect to the calculation, so what are the other balance expressions? So we have seen the balance expression with respect to the B to C, and we have seen the balance expression from F to C. If we see the other balance expression, that is I1 into other balance expression, that is first branch, that is I1 into j omega, I1 into R1 plus j omega L1, that is equal to I3 into R3 plus IC into R. Okay, IC into R. What is IC into R? IC into R is nothing but current flowing with respect to the resistor is capacitor current, I suffix C. So what will be the voltage drop at this particular path? Voltage drop at this particular path from F to D. What is the voltage drop? That is current into resistance. That is the voltage drop. That is I suffix C into R. Okay, so that is second expression. So if we rewrite this expression, that is IC into if we take the capacitor currents aside, if we substitute the if we capacitor currents aside, okay, IC into R plus IC into R into 1 by omega C, that is equal to, okay, I3 minus IC into R. Okay, so this is about the expression here. This voltage drop across this particular path. What is the voltage drop across this particular path? IC into 1 by j omega C is nothing but voltage drop across this particular path from F to C. Okay, and what will be the voltage drop across from F to D? Voltage drop across F to D is IC into R. Okay, and what will be the what is the voltage drop across this particular resistance at this particular path from C to D? From C to D, the current flowing same amount of, what is C to D, what is the current flowing from C to D? From C to D, current flowing, that is I3 is equal to IC plus I4. What is the value of I4? Okay, current flowing from A to D to D to C, that is I3 is equal to IC plus I4. What is the value of I4? I4 is equal to I3 minus I4 into resistance, that is R4. This is the voltage drop across D to C. That is the voltage drop across D to C. This is the voltage drop across D to C. If we solve this thing, if we take the common terms, I suffix C is a common term here. If we take this common terms, that is I suffix C into R plus 1 by j omega C, that is equal to IC I3 minus IC into R4. I3 minus IC into R4. Okay, that is about the balance expressions. So we have taken the balance expression at each particular path. So we have taken the balance expression at this particular path. We have taken the balance expression at this path. We have taken the balance expression at this particular path. Okay, we have taken the balance expression at this particular path also. Okay, so after observing the balanced expressions, so these are the expressions we calculated. We know the capacitor current, and this is the one of the balance expression, and this is one of the balance expression. So okay, so with this particular things. Okay, so if we substitute the value of capacitor current in second expression and third expression, so what is second expression? This is the Wheatstone bridge. What is the second expression? So this is our second expression. Okay, so this is our second expression and this is our third expression. If we substitute the value of I suffix c in this second expression and third expression, in the second expression, third expression, so what will be the value? That is I1 into R1 plus j omega L1, that is equal to I3 into R3 plus what is the value of IC? IC is I1 into j omega c into R2 into R. I substituted in second expression with respect to I suffix c. This value is substituted with respect to I suffix c. Okay, same value is happened with respect to the third expression. In the third expression value is also what is the value of I, and I have rewritten this expression. Okay, I1 into R1 plus j omega L1, that is equal to I3 into R3 plus I1 into j omega c into R3. So I have taken resist this I3 into R3 aside and this values to aside, and this is our new expression, that is expression 4. That is expression 4. So if we go to the next parameter, that is substituting the value of I suffix c in equation 3. In equation 3, what is in equation 3? Here we can substitute the value of I suffix c with respect to I suffix c, that is I1 into j omega c into R2 plus 1 plus j omega c, that is equal to I3 minus IC. Here also we can substitute the value of IC, that is equal to I1. Here we substituted the value of IC with respect to I1 into I3 minus I1 into j omega c into R2 into R4. Okay, if we substitute this value, what will be the expression? It is I1 into j omega c R2 into R plus I1 into R2, that is equal to I3 into R4 minus I1 into j omega c R2 into R4. Okay, so here in this expression we have to take the common terms, that is I1 is common in left hand side and in right hand side. Okay, take the common expression, that is I1 into rest of the expression, that is j omega c into R2 into small r plus j omega c into R2 into R4 plus capital R2, that is equal to I3 into R4. So this is nothing but our fifth expression. This is nothing but our fifth expression. So if we substitute the value of R4, if we substitute the value of R4 here in the equation we got in equation 4 and equation 5, that means if we equalize both of them, equation 4 and equation 5, see equation 4, that is in the terms of I3 into R3, equation 4 in the terms of I3 into R3, equation 5 in the terms of I3 into R4. Okay, so if we substitute the values here, okay, this will be the expression, that is I1 into R1 plus j omega L1 minus j omega c into R2 into R, that is equal to I1 into j omega R2 into R divided by R4 plus j omega c into R2 R3 R4, R4 will get cancelled plus R2 R3 divided by R4. Okay, so next if we solve the things, if we solve further the expression, okay, so take the real terms aside and the imaginary terms aside. What is the value of real terms? Real terms will be in the terms of R1, that is capital R1, that is equal to R1 R2 R3 divided by R4, and imaginary terms, that is L1 minus C R2 into R, that is equal to C into R2 R3 R divided by R4 plus C2 R2 R3. So if we rewrite this expression into this, that is in the terms of unknown inductance L1, that is equal to C R2 into R plus C R2 R3 into R divided by R4 plus C R2 R3. Okay, so what is the common expression? Common expression is CR2, CR2, CR2. Take that outside, that is L1 is equal to CR2 into R of 1 plus R3 divided by R4 plus R3. Okay, so that is about the unknown resistance. That is about the unknown resistance and unknown inductance calculation. Okay, so if we see the elements here, what are the main advantages? Means a fixed capacitor is used in terms of variable capacitor. In Maxwell's bridge and in Hayes bridge, in Maxwell's bridge, a fixed capacitor is connected in parallel with respect to a resistor. In Hayes bridge, we connected the fixed capacitor in series with resistor. In this concept, we have used a standard capacitor, that is nothing but a variable capacitor. So this makes the bridge to operate in low quality factors and in high quality factors, that increases the range of Anderson's bridge. You know, in first point we already said Anderson's bridge is to operate at wider ranges. What makes the Anderson's bridge to operate wider range means because of the usage of this particular standard capacitor or variable capacitor. Okay, so and the bridge can be maybe used for accurate determination of capacitance in terms of inductance. So there are various types of disadvantages also there. What is the disadvantage means complexity. Anderson's bridge analysis is quite complex when compared to Maxwell's bridge. Maxwell's bridge and Hayes bridge are quite simple in analysis, but Anderson's bridge analysis is quite complex because of involving this particular variable capacitor in the middle of the bridge. Okay, and another thing is shielding of the bridge. We have to shield the bridge, for the protection point of view. That also makes the things quite complex because of the additional junction. See, here we have F junction. F junction is connected in between this particular detector arm. So this is the additional junction, and that makes the shielding process quite complex. There are also additional complications, but in terms of using the standard capacitor arm, there are quite advantages. The range perspective is increased and all, but the Anderson's bridge is quite complex, but the Maxwell's bridge is quite simple when compared to the analysis perspective. So this is about today's class.